I made a huge mistake. Hi, my name is Chris. This is video number 4 for networks and data security. It's kind of a big one, so I'm going to try and move through things as quickly as possible. I'm going to articulate wireless security, explore dedicated firewalls, examine network access protection such as NAP, and explore network isolation. Alright, wireless security. Now, the security on a wireless network is likely going to change depending on the kind of network you're connected to. You're going to be more worried about being attached and connected to a public network as opposed to a private one, such as one in your home. And when it comes to the networks in your own home, you've probably got something set up with a password, hopefully, to prevent strangers from connecting to your wireless network just because they're near your house. Now, wireless network security is typically divided into a few different categories. There's WEP, or WPA, which in itself has 3 iterations, for example, WPA, and then 2, and then 3. Now, connecting to a wireless network that's currently secured by these protocols usually requires either a passphrase or a key, which can be anywhere between 12 and 36 alphanumeric characters to try and prevent unwanted access into your network. Now, while at home, you typically have a wireless router, which lets you plug in with your computers, but also access the network remotely or wirelessly using your cell phones and tablets and laptops and that sort of thing, which is good news. And typically in a business network architecture, they use switches, not access points. Switches don't broadcast wireless network signal. They can't be connected to wirelessly or remotely. They're just a physical pass-through from point A to point B. Now, one feature of routers and access points that can be used for security in your own home or in a business place is MAC filtering. So every device has a specific address. This is like a unique identifier, like a phone number in your phone, right, is attached to the hardware ID of your cell phone. MAC address filtering allows a network administrator to prevent access or connectivity by any device that isn't on the list. So aside from the, say, computers that the employees are using, physically connected to the network, the router will actively prevent connection by any other external device that is unknown to the system. Dedicated firewalls. A firewall, by definition, is a piece of software or network security hardware that monitors incoming and outgoing network traffic and can, on the fly, prevent or block specific network traffic depending on a specific set of rules as defined by the software itself or the network administrator. Something in my teeth. Now, a step up from regular firewalls are proxy firewalls. Now, these ones work a little bit differently, but are very much more secure, albeit a bit slower than normal firewalls. The reason is this. When your computer connects to the proxy firewall then establishes a connection to the destination. It's a mirror of the communication coming in. Now, the outside user, or networked user, whatever, they never actually create or establish a direct two-way handshake or link through the firewall with their destination. Everything that they send and receive is sent and received by the proxy firewall, which in turn handles the same traffic to and from the destination device. Now, NAT, or Network Address Translation, is a capability that most routers have for use when port forwarding, for example. Where are my cats? For example, in your home, you likely have one modem, which means you have one public IP address. Now, the modem, especially if you have more than one computer connected, has effectively created private or local site IPs and just kind of copies them all over the place for each of the devices that you have connected. Each of those local site IPs is going to establish a connection outward through your public IP and through your modem. But this effectively eliminates the need for a separate public IP address for each of the computers in your house, your cell phone and your tablet and Xbox, what have you. And considering the shortage of IP addresses that is still very much a threat at the moment, this is almost a necessity upwards of 15, 20 years ago when this technology was first developed and designed. Now, NAP, which Actually sounds really nice about now. Network Access Protection by Microsoft is a security software that uses a device's health when attempting connection to the network to determine if it's allowed access to the network. Now, it is worth noting that the NAP platform it will not be available starting with Windows 10. Now, NAP does not accumulate or evaluate the attributes of a computer's health state. Other components such as system health agents, SHAs, and system health validators, SHVs, are responsible for providing network policy validation and network policy compliance. Now, overall, NAP checks the health and status of roaming laptops, desktop computers, computers in remote offices, visiting laptops, or the compliance and health of unmanaged home computers. Basically, to make sure that while your computer wasn't connected to the network, you weren't off getting yourself infected with viruses and such like it was a long weekend in Amsterdam. And if for some reason your computer was off having too much fun, it'll likely still let you connect to the network, but it's not going to let you play with anybody. And lastly, network isolation. Network isolation is a feature that confines and restricts clients connected to the Wi-Fi network. It refuses them access to other computers on the network, the shared devices on that network, basically just lets you access the internet. That's it, that's all. Now, in a more complex environment, network isolation can be used to set up a virtualized version of the network, essentially a clone. This effectively lets you have, say, a sandbox environment to play in, but more often than not, what it does is allow computers that are on the network to make use of the virtualized interface in a software-specific connectivity, as opposed to having direct physical access to the devices through the network card. Now, this virtualization technique can also be used to set up what is effectively a partition network to allow people that are at certain criteria or privilege levels access to only certain things, but keeping them locked behind a software layer. Meanwhile, those with higher access and credentials can access a broader spectrum of devices and whatnot on the network. That about wraps up video number 4 for networks and data security. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go comb my hair.